couldn't sleep at night. I had this faceless, eyeless spectre visiting me every night for 10 years. I was in war, I was in the military. We were there to kill people. We weren't there to pat people's faces with buttercups. You know, we have to realise it's serious, it's very dangerous. Clearly, we lost so many men, but that's what war is, it's not pleasant.
Simon Weston was only 20 when he set out to serve his country in the Falklands War. On the 8th of June 1982, the HMS Galahad, of which Simon was aboard, was bombed by an Argentine pilot. Weston was the worst injured, suffering 46% burns to his body, but his story is one of many.
You know, too many good men and women, too many good men and women whose lives have been destroyed by post-traumatic stress disorder, being destroyed by serious depression, alcoholism, psychiatric problems caused by conflict, caused by service, and not enough done to identify it. You just sink to the bottom of despair. You can't see the way forward, and it just, you know, you've got to find a way to understand that you are important to you, and you are the rest of your own life. And it's up to you if you feel like inviting other people into that. You've got to understand that you go on a depression and an emotional roller coaster you can't even begin to understand. And then on top of all of that, there was no psychiatric help, no psychological help, we had nothing at all.
The experiences of John Peters and Shaun Rusling show how war can have a contrasting effect on the mental health of soldiers.
Well, I was flying a Tornado aircraft on the first day of the war. I was shot down at low level by an anti-aircraft missile and anti-aircraft guns. I was in the desert for a couple of hours, and then was captured and spent 7 weeks in captivity as a prisoner of war. During that time, interrogated, so I was beaten with baseball bats, rubber truncheons, had my hair set on fire, burnt with cigarettes, lost 2.5 stone in weight, was blown up 6 times. I've never suffered any post-traumatic stress at all. The moment I got released, I was fine. And it's 21 years later, I've never had a problem with my experience. Most people feel I should be a damaged human being. The counter side to that, and my challenge to you, is do you know how much confidence an experience like that gives you?
I've been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. It's something that you always suffer from. Nightmares, night tremors, sweats, fevers. You also suffer from flashbacks where you can actually physically see what's happening and what previously happened. Post-traumatic stress is a natural reaction to an unnatural situation, and there's nothing more unnatural than going to war. There's very little support whatsoever. There was none in Nancy 1, and there's very little now. In 20 years later, we haven't learned lessons.
However, when soldiers do return home with conditions such as post-traumatic stress disorder, there are certain charities on hand to offer much-needed support. One of these is Help for Heroes, with a recuperation centre based at Tedworth House in Wiltshire. The charity uses sport to help soldiers who have suffered both mentally and physically. Martin Colclough is head of sports recovery at the house.
Some of the major psychological benefits of getting back into physical activity include improved confidence, improved self-awareness, and showing that people that you can actually achieve something after you've been injured. So self-esteem improves a great deal, and we've also seen examples of where people have lost the ability to be in front of groups or be around big groups, and just having that level of confidence restored, I think, is very, very important. I think PTSD is one of those injuries that we don't see too much of because it's at the higher end of the psychological injuries, but we certainly do, and the benefit of sport and the services that we can provide through sport are that it helps people cope psychologically as well as physically with their injury. one of our guys learned to ski, and his entire motivation for that was so that he could propose to his girlfriend on the ski slopes when they went on their next skiing holiday, which is a fantastic thing. And then of course there are some people who want to ski at an elite level, and we have elite sports programs for them, and there are a couple of individuals who are now training towards the Paralympic Games in Sochi in 2014. I think the level of support that we now have for our veterans who are leaving through illness or injury has increased enormously in the last few years, and that's down to the collective efforts of lots of charities, but particularly Health for Heroes, who've driven forward some of these newer initiatives like the recovery process. So support now is much better, and it will continue to improve because we've only been doing this for just over a year.
Despite the hard work of numerous charities across the country, such as Help for Heroes, there are still many soldiers who are not ably supported when they return from conflict. A recent study showed that ex-servicemen and women are 3 times more likely to take their own lives after the stresses of serving for their country.
We've asked the ultimate price of these people to then not pay the ultimate price at the back end when they've done what you've asked of them and not give them the support and the care. That then is so disloyal. That is so basically unfair. You got what you wanted, now you're not prepared to give what they need. They've given what you wanted, but you won't even give them what they need. When we ask them, when we shout out and say we need your help, they come running. But when they need ours, where's the government?